It's true, the ego is attachment, and attachments block the spiritual development. But the proposition of destroying the ego, taught by the current spirituality and the holistic world, has been producing an outcome opposite to the desired one. Most of the current spiritual teachings are making the ego more inflated and deluded. I invite you to discover another reality, a reality in which destroying the ego is not a goal, a reality in which is not you who directs the process of spiritual development. The soul directs. I'm CAVALHER. Since everybody is speaking so much about the destruction of the ego, it's important to know exactly the definition of ego. After all, it's better not to run the risk of destroying the wrong thing, right? Some definitions of ego are more common. One of them says that the ego blocks the spiritual development because the ego is selfishness, vanity, and pride. Take a look at this suggested video. Another one says that the ego blocks the spiritual development because the ego causes separation between the ego itself and transcendence, as well as a separation among people. Take a look at this another suggested video. But one of the definitions that particularly calls my attention is the one that says that ego is attachment. I agree. Ego is indeed attachment. Attachments keep us stuck. We remain imprisoned in the same thoughts, in the same feelings, in the same emotions, in the same behaviors, and in the same life situations. That's why, although I am totally against destroying the ego, I'm totally in favor of transcending the ego. I'm passionate about transcending limits. Being attached to your thoughts is to always think the same way. Being attached to your feelings and emotions is to always feel the same way. Being attached to your desires is to always want the things to happen in the way you want. Being attached to life situations is to always want things to happen the same way. Being attached is to want your expectations to be always met. Being attached is to be indeed imprisoned in your own ego. But this is where the problem lies. The current spirituality and the holistic world define the problem correctly: the attachment to the ego's expectations. But in my opinion, the solutions offered by the current spirituality and the holistic world are not only incapable of solving this problem, but also create an even bigger attachment to the ego. Yes, I know this is a weird idea, but I ask you please the opportunity to show you another point of view. Since my opinion is very different from most of others, I suggest that you keep watching this video only if you are willing to become acquainted with another worldview. If you don't, there is no problem at all. You just stop to watch right now and keep all your points of view intact. One of the solutions offered by the current spirituality and the holistic world is that in order to follow the transcendence, you should follow your heart. To follow your heart is to follow your feelings and emotions. Well, let's see. Following the heart is to satisfy your own sentimental and emotional needs, is to seek your own happiness in accordance with your own definition of happiness, in accordance with your own expectations about happiness. At least I have never seen someone that follows their feelings and emotions not to satisfy their own needs and to be unhappy, have you? Therefore, to follow the heart, your feelings, your emotions, is to follow your ego, is to meet the ego's expectations about happiness. Another solution proposed by the holistic world is that to follow your intuition is to follow the soul. The intuition is a part of the ego just like feelings are. Carl Jung, the creator of Jungian psychology, teaches that the ego has 4 cognitive functions: thinking, feeling, corporeal sensation, and intuition. Of course, you can have your own point of view and think that the intuition is not a part of the ego. However, a part of the ego or not, intuition is also presented by the holistic world as the means to satisfy your own needs, your own desires, your own expectations in accordance with your own definition of happiness. Or do you know someone who uses their intuitions not to satisfy their own desires and expectations? Someone who uses their intuitions not to achieve their goals? Most techniques taught by the current spirituality have the exact same problem. They work to satisfy your expectations, to give you what you want. The most obvious one is the law of attraction. The law of attraction is presented as a tool you can use to attract the things you desire. But this teaching has been causing the absurd situation of people who use the law of attraction, one of the most sacred laws of the universe, to attract money, fancy cars, and mansions. These people are willing to satisfy their own desires and expectations. People usually argue against my point of view, saying that they are not so selfish and are using the law of attraction to attract peace on earth or the union of all people. This is extremely noble. I work intensely for that. But peace on earth and the union of all people are still the desire of these people, the expectations they have about life. No matter how noble these ideals are, they are using the law of attraction to satisfy their desires the same way. It doesn't matter if your desire is vulgar or noble, for you or for all. It is still your own desire, your own will. That's extremely 3D. The same problem happens in the positive thinking. People use this technique to satisfy their own desire, their own expectations, that their lives become exclusively positive. I consider this proposition particularly infantile and naive. Any spiritual techniques that program human beings to satisfy their own desires and to achieve their goals are satisfying people's egos. It's important to make things clear. I really think people should follow their hearts and intuitions, no problem at all. I also know that the law of attraction exists, no problem at all. You just can't say that these behaviors and techniques are of the soul, not of the ego. It's contradictory that you want to satisfy all your needs, all your desires, all your expectations, however noble they might be, and at the same time say that you want to get rid of your attachments and destroy your ego. How can you believe that you are leaving behind your attachments and at the same time want everything to be the way you want? Believing that it is possible to destroy the ego and leave behind your attachments while you satisfy your desires and expectations is a complete illusion. Illusions are by no means harmless. Illusions are extremely dangerous. Illusions imprison your consciousness. Illusions are convictions. Convictions that imprison you in illusory realities. This illusion imprisons you in which reality? You continue to follow your ego, but fall in the illusion that you are following the soul. This is an infantile reality. This way of following the soul sells you something that is only acceptable in little children, wanting to satisfy all their desires and that everything is the way they want. In this 3D reality, the ego is inflated, believing to be the soul itself. This becomes clear when we realize that the current spirituality puts the responsibility for all the spiritual development on you. You need to do everything. You are the one who must follow their heart. You are the one who must follow their intuition. You are the one who must make the law of attraction work. You are the one who must transform yourself. You are the one who must know into what you need to transform yourself. You are the one who must destroy the ego. Everything is on you. I don't see how the current spirituality could propose a reality that is more ego-driven than the one already in place. If you are responsible for all the spiritual processes, if you are responsible for defining what is right, and you are the one who must do everything, what's left for the soul? Don't allow this illusion to imprison you. Leave it behind. Destroying illusions is an act of courage, because destroying illusions is destroying convictions that you publicly stood for, and it also is seeing the life you have built on this illusion collapse. Destroying illusions is liberating because it opens the access to new realities. In this new reality, you stop taking your ego for the soul. You understand that the goal of spiritual development is not you realizing your own will, but that of the soul. The spirituality that is being taught today is opposite to the one Christ taught. In this new reality, a 4D reality, you are more spiritually mature. You know the soul is indeed the sovereign and are ready to let the soul's will be done, not yours. You leave behind this pseudo-ego destruction and stop to want everything your way, as you understand that the soul can indeed go against you and that not everything is about satisfaction and happiness. You know that the soul can point whatever direction it wants. Sometimes the direction will be the light, but sometimes it will be darkness. You are ready to experience the reality that is indeed holistic. Holos means wholeness, everything. Wholeness encompasses everything, light and darkness. You leave behind this pseudo-ego destruction, stops to think that you already know the direction your spiritual development should follow, and only then you truly open yourself to the soul's direction. You understand that a reality that is indeed new, a life that is indeed new, is beyond your expectations, beyond everything you want. A life that is indeed new is beyond anything you can imagine. The soul is unthinkable for the ego. In this series' next video, I'll show that the teachings of the current spirituality are making the spiritualist's ego even bigger, although it seems not to be. Stay tuned.